Hi, thanks so much for joining me. My name's Danny from The Glittered Rose. You can find me under that name over on Instagram and also on Etsy. I'd love if you find me and follow me over there. I haven't been too well lately, so I've just been sitting down with my iPad creating images. And when I created this one, I knew I wanted to create something using it. So I thought I wanted to use this image and have her in the front of a journal so that when I open it up, I see that gorgeous face. I thought she'd make me happy every time I look at her. So I've created a pretty simple art journal page. I think that should be suitable for beginner art journalists. So if you're new to mixed media and want to learn how I did this, stick around. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and yeah, stick around so that you can see how I created it. There's some very simple and easy techniques. It's just how I popped them all together. I had fun creating it. I just love this moon face. I think she's she's gorgeous. She's got a gorgeous infectious sort of smile. I can just imagine how she'd laugh. She'd have a real belly laugh. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so this is the collage sheet I've just completed, and I think that they're all gorgeous based on a moon. And yep, I'm going to go with the moon face. She's sort of different to all the rest, but I think she's gorgeous. Um, I'm going to chop her out, and I'll be back. I'll also pull out the pages. So I want her at the front of my journal. I think she'd be gorgeous in the front, but I want to put her at the front of the geisha because there's some over splashes on the back of that page. So I'm going to cover that up. I'm going to paint it dark so that'll cover up that, the colors on the back of that page. Alrighty, so I'm just using some Stamperia paint now to color my paper. This is in shadow, in the color shadow, and it's a gorgeous, I love this color paint. It's hard to describe. It's a grey, but it's a greeny grey with a blue tinge, and I think it's lovely. So I've popped down a very generous coat, and I'm just painting it roughly. It doesn't have to be smooth. In fact, I don't want it to be smooth, and you will see why in a minute. So I'm just painting this. Okay, so for the next part, I want to get some of that texture. So some texture into that paint, sorry. So while this paint's nice and wet, I'm going to grab some cling wrap, or I think it's called saran wrap in America. And I'm going to get it nice and wrinkly. And I'm just pressing that into the wet paint and introducing some sort of wrinkles or texture into the paint. And then rubbing that in just to, I'm not sure if this will pick up on the camera, but in person, that looks great. I'm going to dry this off and then I'll give you a closer look. All right, I'm pretty happy with that texture. I think that looks really good. I think I'm going to grab out some spray stain and spray a little bit of some spray stain into the texture, maybe some weathered wood into it, just to add a little bit of grunge and a little bit of extra um, color into that texture, and I think that that should grab on into those areas. I'm just going to dry that off. Okay, so I've just got a background stamp from All and Create, and I'm just randomly stamping it onto the back of this, well, onto the background. So because this has been painted with paint and then sprayed, it hasn't got the smoothest background. So it's pretty rough. So it's not going to stamp properly, but that doesn't matter. It's just for the background. Um, so I can't really see what I'm doing because it's just a clear ink pad, but that um, just guessing, just randomly stamping. You can see a little bit. Now I've got some Mai Tai Wow embossing powder and just sprinkling that on. This is a pretty glittery one. It's got some white in it too, so it's really interesting. It's not just glittery. I'm not a flicker. I don't think that we should be flicking the back of embossing powder because it just flicks it all off. I'm looking at that and I just know that I'm going to hate that. If I melt all of that, I know I'm going to hate it. And that's on the back of something that I love. So if I melt all that and I hate it, I'm not going to want to put it in the bin. So I'm going to have to problem solve this without just popping it in the bin. So how can I fix this without just chucking it out? I think there's only one thing I can do in situations such as this, and I'm going to just knock off some of this sparkle. Um, it's just going to be too much. So I am going to just wipe off some of this embossing powder. And what will be left will be, I'll call it watermarking. So there'll still be where I've stamped, which will just look like it's been watermarked. And then there'll be just spots where there's glitter. And I think it'll end up looking like I meant to do it. And it'll look like I'm a genius. And uh, in my mind, I'll just have a look, I'll think where I want to place this image. And then I'll keep in mind my rule of three. So there'll be three places roughly left of these glitter blobs. I think that looks good. I don't want to knock back too much because I still want some of the embossed bits. Yep, I think that's going to work. Okay. I'm going to pop this back in the jar and I'll melt it off camera. You don't need to see me do this. And I'll be back. All right, I think I've saved it. So rather than throwing a tantrum, I think I'm throwing a party, calling myself a genius because I've saved it. All right, so I've grabbed out some washi tape and I just want some really thin strips, but I want to rip them quite uneven and quite thin strips, and I just want them coming from the top down, and I want it uneven, just as like a little detail, just like that. I just want them thin, just as a little decorative detail. It's turning out to be quite different for me. I usually have my pages looking very messy. Sometimes I do something and I'm like, where did this come from? This is not me at all. Gee, this is nice washi tape. It's thin, but it's sort of thick. It pulls apart nicely and it's quite sticky. My children are on Christmas holidays already. So they finished on a Tuesday, which means that they get 7 weeks of Christmas holidays. It's going to be a long 7 weeks. My son starts high school. Not sure how quickly those years went. All right, that's looking really nice. I'm liking it. And I picked this this washi tape out because I think it goes nicely with the colors in her face. And I think the Mai Tai colors of the embossing powder also goes nicely with the colors in her face. Right, I'm just going around with a black Rembrandt pastel and going around the edges because the whiteness around it was annoying me. So I'm just making sure that that can't be seen. Um, and now I'm just grabbing my Distress Glaze from Tim Holtz just to seal it and just to make my fingers even dirtier. Just to seal it on there. And then I'm gonna glue her down. I'll just do that off camera. And I'm just running around the edge with a distressed crayon, just to frame it. I'm not worrying too much about blending into the center because it's not overly obvious. It is a little bit more in person, I will admit, but it's still not overly obvious because it's dark on dark. I've going to use some rub-ons from 49 and Market. I've lost my rub-on tool or I've misplaced it. So I'm just using my bone folder. I hope it will work. And yep, looks like it's going to work perfectly. And I think that these are going to look a little bit like clouds. I think that that's sort of add a bit of a cool touch. Oh, yep, that's very cloud-like with some sort of arty writing in them. Um, yeah, that looks cool. I like that. And it sort of stuck where I didn't want it to stick. I wonder if I can get that up. I can peel that off. I wonder if I can scratch that off. That's working well. It just decided it was going to grab on whether I wanted it to or not. I didn't have to rub it on. Pop some down here. Might use a gold. I'm going to have a flip through this book. Okay, so I found a sticker and I've stuck it in and it says be your beautiful self and the metal embellishment says create magic and I thought that they both suited so gorgeously. I'm going to pop them into my art journal and we'll have a good look together. I do love the rub-ons. I think that they're really cool how they look like clouds. I'll pop it into the art journal and we'll have a close look and call it done. And here we are, all finished. I have to say I love it. I think it's really gorgeous. I love that image. Um, I think it's come together really nicely. It was quite a simple technique. I love it with the cling wrap. It's cool with the extra texture. You can see it more in person, but it's just a great way to add some texture and interest in the background without, doing lots of layers with gesso and paints and inks or whatever. So it's one that I'll have to remember. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know down below what you think. Leave me a comment and a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. Thanks so much for watching. Till next time. Bye for now.